Hello. Last video we talked about the adding and subtracting polynomials. Now we are going to get into multiplication. And the first thing we're going to talk about is binomials. Now a binomial is a polynomial that has two terms. So I have 2x minus 10, that's a polynomial. And I have 3x plus 9, that's a polynomial as well. Now some teachers might go with the word FOIL, first, outer, inner, last, but I want to avoid that because that kind of breaks down what happens if instead of a binomial, this one had 3 terms or 4 terms, or we had a 3 times 3. Well, what is that going to be? FOIL? We got extra terms. All right, so here's what I see. First off, distribution, I have a 2x times a 3x. Well, 2x times 3x, that is going to be 6x squared. All right, that is my first term. Now, 2x times 9, 2x times positive 9, that is 18x. Next term, I have a negative 10 times a 3x. That would be a negative 30x. And then finally, I have negative 10 times 9. That is negative 90. All right. Now I do see something here. I see some like terms that I can combine. Well, x squared is going to stay by itself, but I do have an 18x and a negative 30x that I could combine. So my final answer here will end up being 6x squared. I have 18 minus 30x, that would be negative 12x. And then finally, I have a negative 90 as well. And submit answer. And of course, we multiplied that correctly. Now let's go ahead and go back. The next one is squaring simple binomials. All right, now do not commit the golden sin of multiplying binomials. This is not equal to x squared minus 16. No, you can't just square the x and square the negative 4, or sorry, I guess that's not even right. Please don't do that. Please, 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 please don't do that. Instead, remember, if I am squaring something, I am taking it times itself. So I have x minus 4 times x minus 4. So when I am doing this, now I can distribute. So x times x is going to get me my x squared. I have x times negative 4 and negative 4 times x. Well, that'll be minus 4x and minus 4x. And then my last piece is I have a negative 4 times a negative 4. That is going to be a plus 16. And my final answer, after I combine like terms, I have x squared. My negative 4x and my negative 4x come out to be a negative 8x. And then finally, we have a plus 16. So if you were to just do x squared and negative 4 squared is 16, you'd miss the entire middle term. Please don't do that. That is the correct way that you multiply binomials. All right, now last one, binomials with powers. When I look at this, we are going to go about this in the same manner, but we just got to be careful of our exponent rules. If I have 2x minus y to the 4th squared, well, yet again, we have 2x minus y to the 4th times 2x, oh boy, that was a bad parenthesis, 2x minus y to the 4th. All right, so let's do this one together. So here we go, 2x times 2x. Well, 2 times 2 is going to be 4, and then x times x is x squared. All right, so that is what that term ends up being. All right, next, what I have is I have a 2x times negative 4y. Well, I know that this is going to be a negative. I have a 2, and then x and y to the 4th. So that is what I have there. Next term. Well, we really have the same thing. We're just multiplying it in a different order. So it's just the same thing. I have a negative 2. I have an x. And then I have a y to the 4th. All right, and then finally, last term here, last term. I have negative y to the 4th times negative y to the 4th. Well, a negative times a negative is going to be a positive. And then I have y. Now think about it. I have 4 y's here. I have 4 y's here. If I were to line those all up, I have y times 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 y. This is y to the 8th. All right, now combining like terms. Be careful here. We do have a like term again. All right, so my final answer here, I have a 4x squared. I have negative 2xy to the 4th, negative 2xy to the 4th. If I have negative 2 and negative 2, I have negative 4xy to the 4th. And then finally, I still have a plus y to the 8th. All right, so be careful on these. Make sure that you guys are showing all your work, just like they did right here. Ooh, they use foil. Yikes. But you should be prepared. You have multiplying binomials, squaring binomials, and then finally you have some binomials with powers.